What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Dauntless Outdoors. Today's episode, we are diving into Venice area. This is about, 120, 130 foot to the bottom here. Nothing too crazy, but we're definitely out there. This is a commercial trip. Drake is the captain here. That's his boat. And the goal was to shoot African pompano, but unfortunately, that really wasn't going so well this day. This is my probably third or fourth dive of the day. I get down here to about 100 foot, looking around, and there's a shark right there. The viz is not nearly as good as we thought it was going to be, which always sucks when you drive really far and you get bad viz. But I spot one African pompano, take the shot. It's a little bit farther than I wanted to take the shot on, but unfortunately I missed, and got a different shaft in the gun, and it ended up not working out there. So we kind of kept on moving, and this is the same spot, but Matt spotted a wahoo on the surface. It was about a 60 pounder or so. So we kind of started following it. That person there is Drake that's swimming along, and unfortunately none of us really got a shot on it there. So I threw a flasher, I kept following it, and I got to see it on this dive here. I threw the flasher, and it came into that Barracuda school, but the viz was really good on top, but there was like a pretty bad sill layer around, 60, 70 foot, so whenever we hit that, we just couldn't see anything down below, which is what I was doing on this dive. This one is, I think, 135 to the bottom here, so unfortunately I couldn't go all the way to the bottom, but I did spot a really nice black grouper down there. But unfortunately I couldn't get a shot on him, just because he was a little bit deeper, and also we didn't spend the time to really chase that fish. Just because when you're on a commercial trip, if you are to shoot a black grouper, it's a quota fish, which means you have to purchase like quota. That's the wahoo right there, by the way. A really big fish. Unfortunately, it would not give me a shot, and I was still doing those grouper calls, which clearly isn't working. But swims behind Morgan there, and she didn't even notice it. I tried to point it out, but unfortunately none of us were close enough to get a shot on this, and we never landed a shot on him. But as I was saying about the black grouper, you have to get quota for him, which just means you have to buy basically a permit for each pound of fish that you sell. So whenever you get back to the dock, you have to get in before 6 o'clock, just because you have a fish that needs quota. But we kept doing some more drops throughout the day on this wreck, hoping to see that wahoo. Stayed for probably another 35-40 minutes chasing it, but unfortunately it didn't work out. So we moved in. We're now in about 100 foot of water, and the viz got pretty bad towards the bottom here. It's like 15 foot of viz on the bottom, but as you can tell, I did just see a cobia, hopped in the water, and as soon as I got in, there was a cobia. But unfortunately, I couldn't really follow that fish because there's so many sharks. And when there's this many sharks around, you typically don't want to go down towards the bottom, just because you'll have sharks behind you and all sorts of stuff. Like, you can have sharks coming from every direction, and at that point, it's typically not worth diving, just because you can never really poke off sharks from 360 degrees. So definitely not a smart move to stay there. So we moved on, went to this kind of a sinkhole. It's about 100 foot around the edges, and then down there in the hole it goes to like 200 something foot, but you typically don't see that many fish in there anyways. So take a shot on that mangrove snapper, and ended up landing my first fish of the day. It's getting towards like the middle of the day, maybe afternoon, and that was the first fish I shot. So this isn't the most productive trip, I would say, but we saw some pretty cool fish, which was nice to see. But dropped back down, shot another mangrove snapper, and landed my second fish of the day. Not too bad.
Just chuck it.
This year, that's what
So we landed some snapper there, and it was kind of getting a little slow there. It was about 100 foot just to shoot a mangrove snapper. So we decided to move. We went to a different wreck, and it didn't really pan out, so we moved again. This one's in about 80 foot of water here. I think it was 88 to the bottom, but a little bit shallower. And as you can tell, we're looking at some mangrove snapper and stuff like that, but nothing real crazy going on the bottom. And typically when I see some smaller fish, I kind of hold off, hoping to see a bigger one just to hopefully make the best out of my dive. So as I'm about to head up, I do one more pan just to make sure there's nothing down there. And as soon as I look down, I spot a really nice cobia, so I take the shot. And if you listen carefully, you can hear that I'm letting some line out, but not much because I can tell he's kind of running around the wreck. But as soon as I saw him go out towards the sand, I give him a little bit more line and swim up to the surface. Got my first cobia in a while.
Woo! Really nice cobia.
So after landing that fish, I was pretty happy there. So I headed back down to the bottom. There was another cobia as I was bringing that one up that kind of stayed in the area a little bit. Drake tried to get a shot, but unfortunately I wouldn't really give him a shot. But as soon as I got down here, spotted a couple nice mangroves up there, and I decided I was going to hold off, which really paid out because, as you can tell, there was 2 more cobia, but this one was by far the biggest. He was about probably 5 or 10 pounds bigger than the other one, so I decided to take the shot on that guy. And kind of swam out into the sand, so I gave him a little bit of line, made sure he didn't get stuck into the wreck, because if you're over the wreck and you start pulling them, sometimes they'll swim right back into the wreck and then they'll create a huge mess. But ended up landing my second cobia of the day.
Oh yeah, good work.
Nice.
So this is my last dive of the day here. Did a couple more drops in between this drop and the one you saw before. Saw a couple decent mangroves, nothing that was really calling my eye, but I did one more drop just because I had a loaded gun and it's a commercial trip, so we're selling any of the fish we shoot. But also I wanted to check this area and see if there was any more bigger mangroves. So I decided I was gonna sit here for a little bit. Spotted one that I liked and I kind of kept an eye on him. He gave me that shot right there, so I decided I was gonna line up, take the shot, but unfortunately he does rip off. But that ended up being the end of the video here. I appreciate you guys checking in. The next video is going to be a lot better than this one. Unfortunately, I didn't film intros and outros and all that stuff for this, but make sure to tune in for the next one. It's going to be a lot better.